Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Biden got a win yesterday. We all got a win, but that's the way people are going to look at this. If you're on one side, your tribe's over here, another tribe's over there. Biden got a win. He got a, you know what? Good. Look, is there pork in this? There's pork in everything. They could spend $1, rather say, hey, we passed the bill for $1. And they'll find out later on that there's $800 billion behind it and stuff we never saw, giveaways, tax breaks, all subsidies, all that kind of crap. Biden got a win yesterday. I got zero problems with that. If you have a problem with fixing our roads, why? If you have a problem with fixing, our crumbling, power grids and water facilities, why? Why would you? There's a lot of stuff in here that we should all be happy about. And there's some stuff in here that I'm sure is going to go to waste. And that's just the reality of the world that we live in. But for all intents and purposes, this was a win for America. Other people see it as a win for Biden. How could you give Biden a win? It's not Biden that got a win. The win here was the American people. We need so much of this stuff. We do. We need a lot of this stuff fixed. You know that. He talked yesterday about how far we have fallen comparatively to other countries. We should be happy. Doesn't mean we won't. Because as we all know, we're going to find a way to bitch, whine, and moan. We're going to find a way to get frustrated. We're going to find a way to go, this is what's wrong with America. All this money we're spending, blah, 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 blah. It's good. It is. It's good. Is it great? It's good. It's good. And it's bipartisan.
How many times have we heard that bipartisanship isn't possible anymore, or that important policy can only happen on a party line?
That right there is Kirsten Sinema. If you guys don't know who she is the author of a ton of this. That is something that she was very proud of. I've spoken to her many times. She is a senator from out here. Even though he called her Kristen on numerous occasions, which is not her name. Her name is Kirsten. You kind of know that. At the end of the day, though, this is good. Doesn't mean it's going to fix everything. No, because this stuff is years away. Years and years and years away from us feeling it. But it was a win. But on the other side, well, gas prices through the roof. People not thrilled. That's continuing to go up. And we ask the question, why is it like this?
In California, gas prices hitting a record high for the second consecutive day.
I've been trying to fill up like a little bit at a time, hoping that the prices would go down, but I've been losing that game.
The national average now $3.42 a gallon, up $1.52 from a year ago because supply is not keeping up with surging demand. Inflation overall is at the highest level in 3 decades. Tyson Foods announcing Monday that it's raising already higher meat prices due to rising costs related to the pandemic.
Yeah. Now, there's a few interesting articles out that nobody's touching upon, but we will because we do things different here because we're looking more interested in the truth than a bunch of BS about rising prices of stuff, gas in particular. Apparently, MBS is pissed that Biden will not meet with him. Now, he's the crown prince. He's the one who, for all intents and purposes, we know okayed the Khashoggi murder that took place in Turkey. He wants to meet with Biden. Biden, not so much. Doesn't like the look. There are things that we have to do and people that we have to be friends with that, yeah, you know what, for all intents and purposes, we'd like to not be friends with them, right? But we have to. It's part of it. If we're not going to hold their feet to the fire, which we're not, this game that we're playing isn't what needs to be done. And from what people are reporting across the board in the financial world, right? Not the MSNBCs and the CNNs and stuff, but the people that actually understand is MBS wants to meet with Biden. And what have I been saying for the last couple of weeks? It's a phone call. It's not a phone call from one of your lackeys. It's not a phone call from somebody who was, hey, this person's the energy secretary. This is Granholm. She's the energy secretary. It's not that. He wants you to pick up the phone and give him a call. That's what he wants. Biden's not really doing that. He can ask, he can pressure, he can say things in a roundabout way. At the end of the day, how Saudi Arabia goes is how OPEC goes. Yeah, there are other parts of this cartel, but the reality is how Saudi decides it is how it goes. They're making almost $1 billion a day just in Saudi Arabia based on the oil prices today. $1 billion. A phone call to him would go a long way to bring things down. Why isn't he making the effort? You have the full power of the presidency. People are frustrated by what's going on. They're frustrated by the prices.
We are hostages because, the car won't move without loading it.
Yeah, that's right. The car doesn't move without loading it. I think we get that.
We have been seeing that crude oil has been closing at above $80 per barrel. And as long as that continues to happen, we're going to continue to see these elevated gas prices.
It's a phone call, potentially. But he's a bad guy, and it's all that we see. I get it. There's a lot of people that we don't want to do business with that we have to. There's a lot of people that we don't want to be business partners with, but the alternative is, well, worse. And we have Saudi Arabia more than they have us. It's a great article in The Intercept talking about this, and they were talking about, let's just say for the sake of argument, because a lot of people are always they're always afraid. Well, what if they go and hang out with like China? And first of all, they're going to do some of that stuff anyways. But secondly, where do you think they get their arms from? And as they point out in several articles and reports, again, not being reported, at the end of the day, we supply so much of their technology that it may take a decade for them, if they were to say, fine, America, we want nothing to do with you, to get themselves in a position to get back to where they are now. It's a phone call. That's it. It's a phone call. If at that time he doesn't want to do anything, you make the decision from there. But he's a bad guy. We get he's a bad guy. Right? We get it. We get he's a bad guy. And this is where Trump understood it. One of the things I've always said about Trump is sometimes to take on monsters, you need other monsters. Take that for what you will. But sometimes in this situation, Trump, being the BSer that he is, saw who other BSers were. Biden, make the phone call. People are frustrated. People are upset. People are looking around and seeing the amount of money that's coming out of their paycheck to go for gas alone.
It's been pretty brutal. What I've been doing is I've been trying to fill up like a little bit at a time, hoping that the prices would go down.
But they never seem to. Last week, I paid $3.29 on Sunday. I paid $3.60 yesterday morning. Same gas station. It's a phone call. We've been saying that for a while. This alleviation would help in a lot of different ways, I think, for a lot of people. This alleviation of dropping it, even if they say, you know what, we're going to turn the spigot on, we're going to pour it out, we're going to do whatever it is that we can to drive this thing down to $60 a barrel, and to see prices come off potentially down to $3 in some places rather than $3.60, $4.20 in some places, California. That would give people some confidence. It's a phone call. That's it. You've not done that in a real way. Sometimes it's just about picking up the phone and saying, could you help us out? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. tweet at us, text the program. Speaking of phone calls, Biden made one yesterday and today. He's doing something with the Chinese as the Chinese does whatever it is that they're doing. I don't know if you guys saw 60 Minutes Australia, which, by the way, is the best of all the 60 Minutes. They basically, the foreign minister in China has said, hey, you know what, guys, we don't want to go to war, but we'll go to war. I mean, we don't want war, but we kind of want war. But we're not going to go to war, but we're ready. And they're making that known, and that includes the way that they're talking to Australia and several other places that may want to recognize Taiwan and potentially protect Taiwan. And it's another one of those things where you sit down and you say, all right, Mr. President, you have the full power of the United States military and your office behind you. Let's see how this phone call goes. This Zoom call. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. MyPillow, BOGO, buy one, get one free. Free. You buy a set, get a set for free. Long staple cotton grown in the United States, America. Best sheets you're ever going to own. Giza Dream Sheets. So nice to slide into at night. Comfortable, amazing, cool. Yes, never too cool, though, that you get hot. Never too hot that you get too cold. Never too... Just awesome. From king down to all the sizes and tons of colors. 6-day money-back guarantee, 1-year limited warranty, machine washable. Now's your chance to grab the Giza Dream Sheets. For you buy a set, get a set for free. No supply chain issues here. Top of that, they got deep discounts on everything in the MyPillow catalog, from the MyPillow to the mattress toppers, the towels, the My Slippers, everything. Now's your chance to grab those deep discounts. Go to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
They Zoomed call, how very technical. But they got on a secured Zoom call and spoke to one another. Xi and Biden, or Winnie the Pooh.
Good evening to everyone here in the United States, and good morning to you, Mr. President in Beijing.
They talked about a lot of different things, including that they're old friends.
Good to see you, Mr. President, and your colleagues. It's the first time for us to meet virtually. Although it's not as good as a face-to-face meeting, I'm very happy to see my old friend.
Yeah, they've known each other for a while, obviously. To show you kind of power that she has, if you guys have not been following stuff, they have now essentially upped him to the same kind of level in the Communist Party as Mao Tse-tung. That's where he's at now. He is at that level. In the history books, he is going down. We all have had history books, right? We read, not everybody gets in. Oh, you're part of history, but you're not getting into everything. He's getting into everything. That's where he's at. If they were going to build a Mount Rushmore, maybe they're going to put faces on the wall, right? Maybe they were going to do that. Guess what? He'd be there. Mao Tse-tung would be there. And probably one or two others. But that's where they have placed him. So it's very interesting to see how they are going to deal with one another. And the big thing, obviously, and they're going to sit there in the games that they're going to play, they're going to talk about climate.
It seems to me we need to establish some common sense guardrails to be clear and honest where we disagree and work together where interests intersect, especially on vital global issues like climate change.
Yeah. Economy is going to be another one of the things that's big, because we're at the point now where we're intertwined. We are intertwined. They need us. We need them. Now, we could set ourselves straight, but we don't. Let's be real for just a second. we're a consumer-based nation. We're not into being uncomfortable, right? I got to wait. We're not. We don't want to pay more. We don't want to wait for anything. So we're dependent on them for a lot of things. And it's not just us, it's the globe. And they're dependent on us for the trade and the money because they got 1.5 billion people to feed. So there are our path and their path when it comes to so much of the politics. But right now, economically, we're a bit intertwined.
As the world's two largest economies and the permanent members of the UN Security Council, China and the United States need to increase communication and cooperation.
Yeah. And I also think when I look at this, does he see an old feeble guy, right? Xi? Does he see a guy that he thinks, with Trump was a bit, he's unpredictable, right? You're not quite sure what you're going to get with Trump. Not quite sure what's going to happen. Trump, he pushes buttons. He tries to sell you something. You're not quite sure what you understand. It's like, is he being real? Is he being innocent? Because I feel like he's lying, but I'm not quite sure. On the other side of things, as you look over and say, there's an almost 80-year-old guy who, when you listen to him, he doesn't sound like he's always there, and he's going to tell stories, and I'm sure he went off on another one of those rambling stories today. And they talked about being honest and candid, and Taiwan is a part of it. They have threatened Australia. They have threatened basically anybody gets involved in that situation. They're going to feel the wrath. How much is he going to take from this? Look, America's serious, and we don't need this right now. Nobody wins. Or let's just see if we can push them a little further. Let's just see if we can push them and see if there is a line like the last president that he served under, where if we cross it, they'll tell us don't do it again, but they're really not going to do anything. So we'll see. But it was very interesting. At least they sat down and spoke, even though it was on Zoom. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
To boost or not to boost is the question that people are asking themselves now. What should you do? Can you boost? When's the right time to boost?
The FDA has done a lot of work. They spent many, many hours reviewing the data, demonstrating that the boosters are actually safe and produce good antibody responses. And individual states may then take that and make further recommendations. So we expect to hear more from the FDA shortly as well.
Yeah, so the booster, it's available if you'd like it. That's where kind of everybody's going. The FDA's looked at it, said, you guys should do this, and you guys should do that. We should boost over here and not boost. Will I boost? I guess, at some point in time, but I've had it as well as had the shots. But people are looking around and they're going, oh, my God, look what's happening.
The decisions come in the midst of some already alarming numbers. 17 states seeing hospitalizations climb 10% or more in the past week. Crowded travel and indoor gatherings could further fan the flames in the weeks ahead, though Dr. Anthony Fauci says vaccinated families can celebrate safely.
Which is what they were going to do anyway, safely or not. Although, according to a new poll, I don't know if you guys saw this. What is it like? One poll did this bizarre asking people, hey, it's out of curiosity, are you going to tell people they can't come to the house if they're not vaccinated? There's a majority of people that are saying, hey, if you're not vaccinated, do not come to Thanksgiving. And it's so bizarre. It's the thing I always bring up. and I think even yesterday Aaron Rodgers touched on it. It's like, so wait a minute here. So the people on the far right and far left, in a weird way, believe the exact same thing. This shot doesn't work. Well, no, I believe it works. No, you don't. Because if you believed it worked, then you wouldn't care about somebody being unvaccinated. And over here, you don't think it works, and the reality is it does. It just doesn't do the things that you want it to do based on whatever's going through your mind. It's not good enough. You haven't given it enough time. You want something that's 100%, like the polio. I mean, all of those things. So, but I could never not invite people to a family function based on the insanity of hey, you're not vaccinated. I'm going to see my family this weekend. I haven't seen my family in almost 2 years. I have a niece that is turning 2 or just turned 2. I've never met her. I have a little nephew that's going to be here any day. I haven't seen my sister in forever. They're vaccinated, but my mom and my little brothers and stuff are not vaccinated. They're not. So for my aunt, she cannot get vaccinated whatsoever. She's allergic to just about everything there is. In fact, when she goes in to have dental work done, she goes to an acupuncture dentist who, like, they put clips on her ears and they do all kinds of stuff to try to numb a lot of stuff because she's allergic to just about antibiotics, you name it. And my little brother, Spencer, they were worried because he's got a G tube, right? Breathes through his trach he's got a trach and a G tube. He eats through his stomach instead of going through his mouth. He doesn't breathe through his nose. And all of the stuff he takes, they're like, we just don't think it would be good. But I haven't seen my family in forever. But I could never say, unless you're trying to get out of a family dinner, right? Like, unless you're like, hey, you know what? I'd like to get out of this. That'd be awesome. But that's where we are. To boost, not to boost, what do they call it? Vaccine shedding, all of this craziness that's out there. And there's plenty of it out there. At some point in time, you got to take a step back and say, okay, what are we doing? You got to learn to live your life above this thing, not below it. And too often, what do we hear? People are allowing this thing to dictate their life. And now you're seeing that there are surges places. So what are you waiting for? You're waiting for people to push forward. And then to top it all off, guess what time of year it is?
What we're seeing is less people are getting vaccinated against the flu because last year there was no flu. But we are starting to see cases around the country. And I think we have to be prepared not only for COVID, but for flu season coming up.
So what we're hearing from doctors is there's a nasty cold out there. The flu is going to be a bit rougher this year. And then you got COVID. Well, we didn't do anything last year. So obviously, kids in particular that spread things like colds and flus, they weren't in school for the majority of the time. Part of being in society is being exposed, even in minute ways, to germs, which builds up your immune system. And so they're expecting flu season to be nasty. And already around here, we've had several people that have got really bad colds. Of course, they've, everything's shut down. Everybody's got to go get a test, only to find out they've got colds, and they're really sick. But that's what you're going to have this year. Now the flu season. So people are going to be like, oh, we should triple mask. That's what I'm waiting for now. Triple, quadruple mask. Super quadruple mask. That's where we're headed. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Yesterday we heard some stuff that I thought was really, really good from Andrew Sullivan, talking about the chaos and craziness of the tribes and things that we live in, and how nuts it's getting. And it is. And it is getting very nuts. And, he puts it really well here, but then I'm going to put this with an article I read today in The Atlantic.
And people be fascinated by this internal struggle. I love that. I hate this feeling I'm reading the church encyclical every week or every day that's telling me how I need to be perfectly woke or how I need to be perfectly Trumpy. We can fight over arguments, but not debate each other's good faith or character or dismiss people because of their race or sex or whatever. We can leave all that behind and be citizens, arguing, reasoning. Deliberation is what the founders called it.
Yeah. And it's a great article by Arthur C. Brooks that says no one cares. No one cares. Our fears about what other people think of us are overblown and rarely worth fretting over. But he also goes on to talk about the fact that when we think of tribes, think about what it was like thousands of years ago. So remember, this is nature, right? If you were thrown out of a tribe, you what? In many cases, you died. Right? So they've ostracized you. They've exercised their demon, which was you being whatever it is that you did in the tribe, and you were pushed out. You were pushed out there and you were alone in a world that was cruel, in a world that was violent, in a world that was cold, had very little ways for you to survive. So you went along with whatever the tribe was going along with, and vice versa, because you didn't want to be in a situation where you were ostracized. That's just human nature. He also goes on to talk about Stoic philosopher and great Roman, Marcus Aurelius. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care about their opinion more than our own, which is true. Because we live in a world where we care about what other people who we're never going to meet, right? Who we're never going to have in our house, right? Who we're not going to dinner with. We care about those people's opinion on the interwebs more than we do, in many cases, the people that matter, and especially us. And that's that tribal thing. But you can understand, there was an article yesterday that for the January 6 people, it is more important for them to go to jail than to be ostracized by going against Trump. Think about that for a second. It's more important for them to go to jail, to show how strong they are in the following, than it is to maybe say, I got it wrong. That is insane. That is insane. But unfortunately, that's where we are. We have this weird world now of tribes where we're set up. It's the same thing with like the vaccine, right? We talked about Vaccinfreud, where people celebrate when somebody who doesn't have the vaccine gets sick. They celebrate that. We've picked our choices and we go over to this tribe, the vaccinated, the unvaccinated. And the rest of us in the center is like, look, I'm not thrilled by being forced to go get this, and I think this thing's overblown. At the same time, I recognize the benefits, and I don't think I'm going to turn into a turtle if I take the thing. So it is what it is. I'm getting on with my life. No, you have to. I get this every day. You have to choose a side. You have to. No, I don't have to choose anything. I choose the side of truth. I choose the side of reality. Show me what the truth is in issues. But it's just so interesting because our tribal ways are more so than maybe ever before, where we have seen this, even with the Rittenhouse case, where we're choosing sides about a 17-year-old who some people are holding up as some sort of hero at a place you should never have been, protecting something that's not yours in a fight that wasn't yours. At the same time, people on the left are holding him up as the demon and evil seed and telling me and everybody else, say the names of his victims. The names of the victims were scumbags. You were there causing hell and havoc. And quite frankly, one of you, you know what? I'm surprised you got out of jail. But you have to choose a side. Because you have to be invested. Because you have to live as if. And that's not a good way to be. It really isn't. Think about that for a second. It's so funny because we live in a world where everybody says, oh, God, we're just so in love with ourselves. But no, we want everybody else to love ourselves. Love us. Love ourselves. Me. That's sad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Raycon, best earbuds around right now, up to 20% off, darling. The amazing earbuds that are Raycons. Great Christmas gifts. 8 hours talk time, 32 hours charge time. I mean, you get this thing. This thing's going to stay full for, quite frankly, 32 hours. I'm going to go even farther than that because I have yet to plug mine in, and I played so much golf this week. It was insane. It was. They got pure mode, balance mode, bass mode. Right? So you got all of these incredible new modes that you can control with the new sound profiles. Ray J set it up so not only are they cool, hip, fashionable, Bluetooth pairing like that, noise isolating fit, second to none, but you got more control over the new everyday earbuds. They're amazing. Price point, perfect. Well under $100, well under $70, and right now your chance to save 20%. Limited time, just for my listeners. Little holiday special for you. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Go there now. 45-day happiness guarantee. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Save big, up to 20% on your Raycon order. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
That is me on this beautiful Tuesday. Probably get some tacos. You know I like tacos, guys. You know I like that. How would you like to go to a library? Chad, that sounds stupid. I know. It's a different kind of library. Okay? It's not the kind of library where you go and check out books. Nobody goes there but homeless people. Chad, again, that is so right, but that makes everybody bad. That feels bad. I only say that because little library I used to go to in the summer out there in Long Beach, it has had its more than a few issues with the urban camper, as our good friends Armstrong and Getty would say. But no, this is a different library. This is where you go check out humans.
So the Human Library is a global movement, but this is the first time we're doing it here at Fairfield. We have, I think, a little over 40 volunteers, 40 human books, who will be sharing their stories. So we'll have students look on a board and see the number of available books and their titles and say, okay, I want to check that book out. And they'll go off to a quiet area of the library and talk for about 15 to 20 minutes about an identity that they didn't know before.
Yeah, so the way they do it, right? You borrow people instead of books. But you sit down and this is what we used to call having a conversation with somebody. But now it has to be an event, right? Now it's got to be, rather than having a conversation where I say to somebody, hey, we're having a chat and you find out, oh, this person over here is a Trump supporter or can't stand Trump. And you have a conversation about that. This is where they actively put people in front of you that may be LGBTQ, they may be BLM, they may be a Trump supporter, they may be, whatever. It could be from any walk of life, right? They may be socialist, and this person over here is uber capitalist, and you'd like to sit down and talk to somebody who's a 1%er and pick their brains, and vice versa. Or you just may be interested in something. That's it, right? You don't get to keep the person. I found that out yesterday. They call that kidnapping. But it's different kind of people. It's not even stuff that has to do with politics, right? In some of these places where they've done this, there's people that have had issues with drugs. There are people that have had issues of being homeless. There are people that have had issues with all kinds of situations, cancer survivors, people that have been in, gangs and all manner, speaking of life. You might want to talk to somebody. One of the things it talks about is somebody maybe that survived through, the Great Depression era. Remember, being in that greatest generation and they tell you, hey, here's, you guys just don't quite get it. The world that you live in comparatively. What it was like to not just go to bed hungry, but essentially go to life hungry, where every day you were wondering what the next day would bring. There's all kinds of things. It's very interesting. But my day, we just called it a conversation. That's what I used to call it. We don't have that anymore because people don't talk. That's all the other thing. They probably just want to text you. Can I text you? Is that fine? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Horrible week in football picks for me. Man, I tell you what, Rams sucked it up last night. I finished the week 6 wins, 7 losses, and a push because the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't win or lose when it came to the game against the Lions. Although Najee Harris, who is the funniest guy in football, was asked what happened. He goes, I was getting excited because I thought we had another quarter. Then they told me that we had ties. I didn't know you had ties. Gotta love that. Still 89-59 for the year. Not bad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text, love hearing from you at Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. If you've got some money, you're sitting pretty, right? Consumer spending was up 1.7%, and the White House will roll it out. Go, oh my God, look how great the consumer spending was last month. We were up, except for it's not because we're buying more. It's we're probably consuming less. The cost of stuff is more. In particular, gas. Gas. Biden had a win yesterday. Let's not take that away. It's a huge deal. Infrastructure's a big deal. But what have I been saying? We live today. We plan for tomorrow. These projects, fantastic. Guess what? Going to take a while to get them out there working and rocking.
I pushed the White House repeatedly on when Americans are going to start to see the impacts of this directly in their communities. And they say, look, we're talking about long-term projects here. This isn't expected to be and not supposed to be one of these short-term stimulus measures that we've seen in Washington in the wake of the COVID-19. So many of these projects like clean water and high-speed internet, it's going to take a long time to set up in these communities around the country.
Yeah, it's not an overnight fix. It was a win yesterday. They needed a win. 2 weeks ago, they got served, if you will. As the kids would say back in the day, you got served. Now, they realize we better get something. Because with inflation, the cost of things going up, a potential for a recession not too far away, more and more from Goldman's to Moody's and everybody else is saying inflation is here, at least for the short to midterm. We better make hay while the opportunity is good because there's a good chance that at least one of the two houses, if not both, are going to be in Republican control next year. So in saying that, we better get something over the finish line. They did. This is the one. I like it. Is there pork in it? Absolutely. I would expect nothing less. Right? Hopefully there's some transparency in the way things are spent, but the reality is there's at least a good, I would say $300 to $400 million of pork in this because that's what happens. Got to take it back to the donors, right? Got to give people, hey, Jim, thanks for all your help. We hired your landscaping company to put in sprinklers in places there's already sprinklers, but yours are climate change friendly, and because of that, we're going to give you this. Now, normally this wouldn't cost you that much, but hey, America, we're flipping the bill, and this is going to cost $40 million. Oh, that's great. I'll be sure to have another one of those big parties for you where we charge $1,500 a plate. There's pork in it. Yes. High-speed internet. Yes, please. A lot of things in here I think are good, but that's the win. The loss is gas prices. Up, up, up and away. And we're seeing that. We're feeling that. That's every day. This is tomorrow. Every day as in today. For the everyday person, we feel that every day.
Well, most of the country has seen gas prices stabilize.
I don't think we've seen most of the country stabilize because I've gone up 30 cents in a week.
Well, most of the country has seen gas prices stabilize or even go down a bit in the past.
Oh, my God, my computer's freaking out, boys. What'd you guys do to it? Essentially, California's gone through the roof. 5+. I'm not looking for it. I'm going there this weekend. I am not thrilled by paying the prices I know I'm going to have to pay. And I'm looking at it, and I'm mapping out, like, okay, where do I have to stop? When's the last place? So I got to stop in Yuma to put gas in, but that's only going to get me probably to, and I probably do it again, only 60 miles away, top it off at El Centro, because then I know I got to go through the hills and everything, and I want to make sure I'm not stuck paying $8 for a gallon of gas in the one gas station between El Centro and San Diego before you get to the San Diego outskirts. I don't want to do that. I don't. All that being said, could this be averted with a phone call? Several outlets have reported this. All MBS wants, right? So that is the leader of Saudi Arabia, the Crown Prince. All he wants is a phone call from Biden, a meeting in some way, shape, or form. That's it. And I've been saying for weeks, it's a phone call, man. You make a phone call. You put the pressure on them to do something. You put the pressure on them by using the office of which you occupy. And if it's a meeting you want, but he ordered the killing of Khashoggi. Yeah, probably. I would say I'm 99.9% sure that happened. That being said, make the call. That's it. Not a lackey. Make the call. Nothing else. Make the call. How hard can it be? Well, I don't want to, because if we do, then we're going to be looking like we're giving into fossil fuels and stuff. Make the call. If you could get them to open the spigot a little bit more, produce a little more, it's fantastic. If you can't, at least you know where you stand. Right now, it's backdoor, it's little stuff. You don't want to be seen. We can't do that. People are not in a position right now where they feel like they're ready for another 6 months to a year of $4 gas nationwide. They don't want that.
In California, gas prices hitting a record high for the second consecutive day.
I've been trying to fill up like a little bit at a time, hoping that the prices would go down, but I've been losing that game.
The national average now $3.42 a gallon, up $1.52 from a year ago because supply is not keeping up with surging demand.
We are hostages because, the car won't move without loading it.
Make the call. If he tells you no, that's fine. But apparently, according to several reports, is MBS would just like a phone call, right? That's all he wants. Just a phone call. And no more than that. If that could happen, great. But you make that call. He's a bad guy. I get that. We deal a lot in bad guys. That's part of being what it is. We deal a lot. So there's a great article called "The Main Driver of Inflation is the Murderous Maniac in Riyadh." And Ryan Grimm and Ken Klippenstein talked about it in The Intercept. That the reality is he wants a meeting. Because like everybody else, what do they want? They want to be legitimized. That's it. Ali Shababi, Saudi national who is considered the voice of MBS in Washington, made it clear in October Biden has the phone number of who he will have to call if he wants any favors. Let's go over this again. Biden has the phone. But Chad, he's a bad guy. We deal in bad people every day. We deal with bad people every single day. Today, Biden made a phone call. Who did he call? Welcoming, saying, hello, hello.
Good evening to everyone here in the United States, and good morning to you, Mr. President, in Beijing.
Yeah, Xi Jinping. So President Xi, he called. Would you consider him a bad guy? There are 3 million Uyghurs locked up in re-education camps or summer camps or whatever you're going to call them. Let me ask you, would you consider him a good dude? What's the difference? He had a journalist murdered? Yeah, that's a horrible thing. I think we can all admit that. But is that changing anything at this moment in time? Or do we need to say, hey, Mr. President, you make the phone call? When you've got the voice of MBS saying Biden has the number of who he'll have to call if he wants any favors. Don't have to be pals. Don't have to like it. But every once in a while, you have to pick up a phone and you have to talk to somebody, or you have to engage with somebody who you don't like, who you disagree with. And at some time, I think you make that call. I think you make that call. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. But we don't negotiate with terrorists. Again, settle down. If we live in the now. Let's just not forget that. So you and I both live in the now. Do you like spending $4 or $5 for gas? $3.60? No. Do you like seeing the fact that prices are going through the roof, even if we have a plethora of stuff, milk being one of them? Inflation has pushed it up because of the cost of energy for getting things from point A to point B is still pushing prices up, even if we have enough. And if you're living at or around that area of the break-even line and dropping gas 50, 60, maybe even $1, that would be seen as a win. The funny thing is, we're not going to deal with them, but we're going to sell them $500 million in arms. Not quite figuring that one out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com/Chad. Fantastic. Give it to my dog every single day. Every single day. Give it to my dog. He loves it. What it's done for him is it's extended his life, and it's extended his life in a good way. Not just keeping him alive, but he's thriving in life. It's got vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all of this incredible stuff in it. Brings his food to life, and he absolutely loves it. It's helped with his joint pain. It's helped with his coat. He's healthier, happier, and he's got more energy than he's ever had. Now's the time to take advantage of the fact that Rough Greens wants to give you a bag for free. You just cover the cost of shipping. ruffgreens.com/Chad. ruffgreens.com/Chad. Get your free bag today or call 833-MY-DOG-77. 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
Let us take a peek, find out what's trending. Kyle Rittenhouse. 9 takeaways from the Kyle Rittenhouse trial closings, including yesterday the assistant district attorney picking up a gun and pointing it at the jury with his finger on the trigger. You don't do that. Something you don't do right there, right? Like this is how we got into this mess. Rams got thumped last night. By the way, it's the 49ers' first home game win in more than a year. That is not success. Just want to let you guys know that. Miles Taylor is trending because apparently, so I don't know, Miles Teller, if you guys know, he's an actor, right? He was in Whiplash, a lot of good stuff. Good actor. Very good actor. But over the summer, before, just before the summer really hit and football season got back in, Aaron Rodgers, Miles Taylor, their fiancés all went on vacation. And I'm like, is he? Yeah, that's what they go. Oh, he is. He is totally an anti-vaxxer. So people are coming after him. Morgan Wallen. Walmart AMP adds Morgan Wallen to the 2022 lineup. No longer canceled. Alex Jones. Oh, God. Yeah, canceled. He is liable in his conspiracy and lies on the Sandy Hook shooting. What does this mean? Beto O'Rourke is trending because, well, he's running for governor. His wife's like, do something, okay? I got to go earn enough money for you to run around in your vagabond lifestyle. Do something. Head over to Twitter. Hashtag not guilty is trending. Obviously, we know what's going on there with Kyle Rittenhouse. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. U.S. court temporarily blocks the release of Capitol riot records. That's trending as we speak. Pete Buttigieg just became the most powerful transportation secretary ever. And it's not because he's gay, although some people probably think that. No, it's because he's got money and power now because so much of the infrastructure is transportation. Oh, yeah. And 6 teenagers yesterday were injured in a shooting in Aurora, Colorado. Why didn't you hear about it? Because there was nothing to see here because it was a gang issue, is what they're saying. So, gang issue. And I was in our newsroom yesterday, and I was talking to one of our news people and said that, there really is nothing to see. I said, 6 people were shot near a school. It was a gang fight. Oh, what it was is it wasn't a pissed off, angry white guy who couldn't get a date. Yeah. Or who was bullied. Yeah. It was a gang guy. It was gang shooting. And gang shootings don't quite elicit the same response. I'm like, okay. Just want to make sure. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet and text the program. Again, Biden, chilling, relaxing, having a late night call with Xi Jinping.
I stand ready to work with you, Mr. President.
By the way, I just want to let you know that is not his voice. That's a translator. Just want to let you guys know that.
I stand ready to work with you, Mr. President, to build consensus, take active steps, and move China-U.S. relations forward in a positive direction.
We'll see. Wouldn't it be funny if on accident Biden turned on one of the little, like the cat meme or Winnie the Pooh? For those of you guys who don't know, Winnie the Pooh is essentially banned in China because of the resemblance of Winnie the Pooh and Xi Jinping, President Xi. So I just see my grandfather or grandmother, if they were still alive with this kind of technology. Do I move closer? Do I move back? Can you see me? The way I feel this thing was going to go. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. What in God's name was this school board member doing? We shall discuss it straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Tell you guys this right now. We have got, one of the big reasons that you saw, I think, swaying of voters in places like Virginia was the school issue. And it's, by the way, it's not just critical race theory. I think a lot of parents were getting frustrated by the way that school boards were pushing some things. I think they were frustrated by the fact that last, year they spent the majority of the year with the kids not being in school, and I think they were frustrated with that. You've seen a lot of different things, and then you had parents who were out of control. They were a-holes across the board in the way that they came at with the masking fight. So everybody's got somewhat of a bit of skin in the game when it comes to some of this insanity. Let's not pretend that, though who hath not sinned cast thine first stone, because we have seen parents. We've seen how nasty some of this has gotten. And then, of course, you have the Department of Justice and people trying to label parents as domestic terrorists, which was insane. Now, here in Arizona, Scottsdale, you have the president of the Scottsdale School Board, Jan Michael Greenberg, not to be confused with Jan Michael Vincent of Airwolf fame. He has been ousted. Why? Because he kept a Steele-like dossier on parents, and the data was collected by his father, and we're talking about everything you could think of. Everything.
I was shocked, disgusted, terrified. Not only did I see my name on it, I saw photos of my 8 and 10-year-old little girls.
That was Amanda Ray's reaction after discovering a Google Drive containing personal information such as addresses, social security numbers, and disturbing memes about her and nearly 50 other parents.
We're horrified to find out what has been collected against various Scottsdale parents, community members, anyone who has been critical of for President Greenberg.
Yeah. And by the way, this just wasn't the masks thing. There were other issues inside of here that included, again, the way that even he and the board were spending cash.
Once we had started looking at the decisions in the board and what they would say in a board meeting and what actually happened on campus, it didn't add up. And so we decided, myself and these 16 other parents who have banded together and communicated and shared information, we realized that there was a lot of bad decision-making happening and with our tax dollars and with our kids.
Yeah, and they were frustrated. Absolutely frustrated. Totally understandable. Should be frustrated. But you're keeping a dossier. You've got divorce records. You've got divorce proceedings. Your father, who I guess is an attorney, has been doing all of this stuff and sharing it with his son, is out there taking pictures. On top of that, your father, in several other instances, is wishing death upon parents who go against you, or at least your son. Is that insane? One person tweeted, well, to everyone who wants me dead, I'm still here. I'm very saddened that JMG, who is the president's father, Mark Allen Greenberg, wants me dead. Oh, well, I'm not going to back down in defending my community or my child's right to a fair, equitable education. Also, if I die, you have to throw a party and make it cat-themed. If that happens, sir, we'll make sure that happens, because we do not want to disappoint. Why? And he denied, but think about this. This is where we are at this moment in time. Parents have been, and I said this when all this stuff was happening last year, not just in Arizona, but nationwide. Remember this. Parents are voters, and you saw it happen in Virginia, because one of the things McAuliffe came out and said, essentially, is parents, you need to shut up. Teachers and us will decide what's best for your children. And that's when it really, that bit him in a way that I don't think he realized. But when you're out there going out and building dossiers up of people that you find are a thorn in your side, who are parents, concerned about not just, hey, are you teaching critical race theory? Are you teaching my 2-year-old what trans is? No, take that away. They're worried about like, hey, you guys got a lot of money and you said you were going to do this, and none of that stuff's happened. None of it. And then your father's wishing people who disagree with you death? It's insane.
And so the fact that unredacted communications between the district and parents made its way onto that drive is certainly something that the district should investigate.
Superintendent Dr. Scott Menzel saying in a statement Friday, the district is hiring an independent forensic investigator to determine if the school resources were used inappropriately, adding it's important to emphasize the district did not create, maintain, or have control over the dossier.
You can't expect students to behave and follow a code of conduct when the leader in our community is behaving so poorly himself. He needs to resign.
And he's done. They voted him out. But think about this for a second. It got serious when they were looking for money. On top of everything else, it got serious when they started looking at money. Again, this isn't so much the critical race theory. I'm sure there's some of that. This isn't so much the masking. There's always going to be some of that. So much of this was about, hey, wait a minute here. I'm starting to look, and I'm finding that you got a bunch of cash, but we don't know where it's at. Just curious. A dossier? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Holiday shopping here. We know that. The question is, what's it going to cost you? Where are you going to get the things you want? How creative are you going to have to be when looking for certain things? And can you look elsewhere?
Shop your local retailer, and this year especially, if you're struggling to find what you want, don't forget that shopping small is a good idea. I've been speaking to a number of small retailers, and while it's true they are facing many of the same challenges, being small also means they can be more nimble and get what you need.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You might pay a little bit more, and as we know in this world that we live in, we're consumer-based society. Consumer-based society means we want to consume, and in doing so, we like them if you stock them deep and sell them cheap. And that is kind of where we're at this point in time, is we like stuff cheap. And one of the reasons that we have to look over to China and to elsewhere where we don't produce like we used to, but we consume more. And the things that we want, way cheaper than the things that we need. And that frustrates a lot of us. And the supply chain is hitting smaller places much harder because while they're more nimble, they don't have access to the ports the way that they worked out a deal with the big box companies who can come in and kind of do it themselves, where you're not getting that. You're not getting that. And right now there's still, some ships out there, and they could bring all the ships in. There's just nowhere to store the stuff. That's a big issue. They're now finding. So let's say you have a container or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 dropped off. You have X amount of days now to get that out of there. Otherwise, they fine you $100. Well, it's not a big deal. Next day, it's $200. Oh, next day, it's $400. Next day, it's $800. They're going to continue to go up and up and up and up and up. And this could cost hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars for companies who aren't able to get that stuff out of there as fast as possible. Now, if we're a solutions-based society, which we should be, we would look around and say, look, you can't pick up your stuff here. We're hiring companies that are going to be moving your stuff to another place. And we'll charge you for it if we need to. Well, where would they move it? There's plenty of space. How many of you have flown across America? Raise your hand. Have you ever looked down and thought, man, I've been flying for 4.5 hours. I ain't seen a damn soul out there. I ain't seen anything. All I see is farmland and a house every 20 minutes. There's plenty of places that they could put some of this stuff at this moment in time. So when I order something that comes from and lizards being one of them, right? So I got my lizard stuff. So when I order lizards, they don't keep them right there. They put them in a place where I then have to go and pick them up. That's kind of the way it happens. You could do the same thing with some of these. Charge them for it. Instead of saying this, you know what? You're getting charged $1,000. We're moving it from point A to point B. We're dropping it off. You'll have responsibility to go and get it yourself. But I don't know if we can do that. Start to figure stuff out. Right? Be solution-based. Don't bring me a problem. Bring me a solution. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Sesame Street's got a new character. We'll touch on that. Is it politically correct? I don't. It's a character. It's a puppet. What could this puppet do to anger people? Apparently, there's a lot that puppets can do to anger people. It used to just be the dog, the insult, Triumph, the insult dog. Car Shield is great. It is. Car Shield's amazing. All right? Right now, it's a perfect time of year where you think to yourself, okay, things are going good. What happens? Boom, check engine light comes on, and all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh. Bye-bye Christmas. Don't let that happen to you. Right? Don't let the bah humbug of the season steal the joy of the Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Get yourself Car Shield. You can save thousands in cover repairs. Get to choose the mechanic. Get roadside assistance from coast to coast. 24/7 right there. Boom. Oh, yeah. Rental car, trip reimbursement, all of it. No extra cost. They've got tons of options to fit the budget that's right for you. Over 1 million drivers have been helped by Car Shield. There's a reason Car Shield cars go further. So what I want you to do, go to carshield.com/Benson. Save yourself 10% right there. Find out how easy it is to work with Car Shield and their administrators who handle everything from the paperwork to the expensive payments. You pay a small deductible and away it goes. carshield.com/Benson to save 10%. carshield.com/Benson. Save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Irreverent? Yeah. So what? It's the Chad Benson Show.
It is. So, gonna get a new Muppet. Got all kinds of Muppets. Sesame Street character. You guys ready for it?
Xi Jinping will appear for the first time in a special that will air on Thanksgiving Day. She's a Muppet, said to be 7 years old, who likes playing the electric guitar and skateboarding. She's also Korean-American, just like Kathleen Kim, the puppeteer who animates her. Kim said it was important that Xi Jinping was from a specific country, not simply Asian-American. Xi, by the way, means smart in Korean, but it also has another meaning, sesame.
So I saw Xi, and I thought, it looks like all the other ones. Is that wrong? And what color is Bert and Ernie? What are they? They haven't really been established of where they're from. Because you're orange. Maybe they're from Trumpville? Probably not. They'd be log cabin if they were. Oh, Chad, that's not very nice. Come on, we all know. The good news is Ted Cruz doesn't seem to be pissed at this one. That was pretty funny. What do you think about that? Think about the absurdity of the world that we live in. That Ted Cruz, a sitting senator and arguably one of the smartest senators we've ever had, with the knowledge that he has when it comes to politics, the law, picks a fight with a giant bird that's not real. Does that sound stupid? You're like, no way. Oh yeah, totally. Right? We had a congressperson here, Wendy Rogers, and she called Big Bird a communist. So funny. How do you live? How do you wake up every day arguing and fighting about that? Elon Musk and yesterday he was at Bernie Sanders. And they're fighting over, Bernie's like, the 1%, make it pay for everything. The 1%. And Elon's like, oh, I didn't know you were there, Bernie. I didn't know you were still alive. This is where we are. This is how we get here. This is what happens when we continue to put people in place where you go, what? Why again? Are you there? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet and text. Speaking of wanting to be in a position of power, Beto O'Rourke makes an appearance.
I'm running for governor, and I want to tell you why. This past February, when the electricity grid failed and millions of our fellow Texans were without power, they were abandoned by those who were elected to serve and look out for them. It's a symptom of a much larger problem that we have in Texas right now. Those in positions of public trust have stopped listening to and trusting the people of Texas. And so they're not focused on the things that we really want them to do, or that we make progress on the things that most of us actually agree on, like expanding Medicaid or legalizing marijuana.
I'm running for governor because my wife told me how to get a job. I went on this vagabond role where I was going around and everybody was cheering for me. But my wife and her family has all this money, and she finally said that I had to go get a job. So I'm going to do it. You guys can't stop me. So I'm going to run for governor. Now, maybe a Democrat in Texas could win governor, but not this guy. Because everything I stand for is very much more New York Times than it is Texas. By the way, her family, Amy O'Rourke, nee Hoover Saunders. Pops is a real estate magnate, William D. Saunders. So they've got cash. And again, he is, I'm not quite sure. I don't know if he has a chance. I'm thinking no. I could be wrong. But let me tell you what's going to come back and haunt you. Him saying if he has to go door to door and take your guns is probably not a big win in Texas. I'm just saying that. Even amongst Democrats. But all I know is I'm running. He sounds like, listen to him, he sounds a bit like a cross between Jeff Spicoli and Keanu Reeves.
I'm running for governor.
I'm running for governor. I hope Matthew McConaughey does it. We can have two guys that just have these, man, I tell you what. Water's intricate. It's flexible. Kind of like Texas. You're like, I don't, right, what? One's going to look like a Lincoln Navigator ad, and the other one's going to go, oh, I'm running for governor. So you better watch out, because I'm coming for your guns. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. It's like Spicoli. Dude, no way. You're running for governor? That's awesome, bro. Yeah, my wife's making me get a job. Super sucks. She's all mad because MSNBC doesn't pay me to go on there and speak a bunch of crap. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Biden got a win. That is good. No problems with that. I know some people did, but you know who really got a win? America. We needed to update our infrastructure. There's no doubt in my mind. I think most of us understood that. And the reality is Trump wanted to get an infrastructure deal because it's popular. Money comes home to your state. Opportunities abound for jobs. It's nobody says it's a horrible idea, but we're going to be spending money. They're going to raise taxes. Of course they are. They're going to look, part of this deal is, and they're going to tell you $400,000. It's above that. Actually, that's not true. By 2023, which is not too far away, 6 million Americans who earn under $100,000 will see some sort of rise in taxes, and that will go up between 2023 and 2027. These are long-term plays. Some of this stuff we need. The waste. We shouldn't worry so much about what's spent. We should worry more so about what's going to be wasted. But it's a good deal. The other reconciliation bill that's floundering out there, that's the one where you take a step back and go, you know what? No. you know what? Let's just see where things are going when it comes to inflation. You got to win here. You take that win. It's a win for the American people, right? That's a big deal because we've got opportunity now to see some of this stuff. But this stuff is going to take a while. I live in an area. So if you guys don't know where I live and you're new to the program, God bless you. Thanks for giving us the old shot here. But let me tell you about where I live. I live in an area where it's a bit rural, to say the least. So Wi-Fi is kind of the thing that you get, right? And it's not great. It's gotten better in certain parts of our area. It depends on what side of the street you're on at this point in time. Right? You're on one side of the street. To the right of it, it's gotten much faster and better. To the left of it, where the homes are, it's still a little hit and miss at times. I'd like to see the fiber optics and everything catch up because that way it'd be easier for me to do one of my two shows from my house, or at least in a small space there, rather than coming in the studio deep in the mornings and driving here, just after I woke up at 2 or 3 in the morning, depending on the time of the year. I know when we talk about all the money and the stuff that's being spent, those are years away. We live in today. We feel today. Gas prices are continuing to rise. People are frustrated.
Like presidents who came before him, Joe Biden has few options when it comes to combating high fuel prices. Nearly a dozen Senate Democrats are calling on Biden to consider all the tools available at your disposal, even the extreme step of banning American oil exports, which Goldman Sachs warned would be counterproductive and could actually raise prices.
The Biden administration is scrambling for solutions to one of his biggest political liabilities, soaring gas prices.
Yeah. Here's why this is the biggest issue he has: the rising costs, inflation, gas prices, and everything. Because we see it every day. Every day you drive by a gas station, there is a billboard for a Republican. Every day you go to the store and you have to pay X amount of dollars more than you did the last time, it is an ad for the Republicans. Right now, his approval rating sucks.
A new ABC News Washington Post poll shows the president's approval rating at a new low, just 41%, even losing support among Democrats and independents, with approval for his handling of the economy plummeting to 39%. Those numbers a warning shot for Democrats ahead of next year's midterms. More than half of voters saying if the elections were held today, they would back a Republican for Congress, the largest margin in decades.
Yeah, and when she says more than half, she's not talking about something that's close. 51%. Well, that's not a lot, but only 40% would back a Democrat. It's like 40 years. They've never seen this kind of disparity between who they would choose. What can Biden do? That's the question people ask. What can Biden do? Because as we all know, we feel it.
We are hostages because, the car won't move without loading it.
Now, can he grab strategically our reserves that we have? Right? Could he get rid of gas? There are options.
The president also considering tapping the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, though industry experts have warned that would do little to alleviate the problem.
If you ask the energy industry, they would say, well, the White House could cut environmental regulation, and maybe that would help. And it could, maybe for next winter, but that would take some time. President Biden does not have a magic wand to dramatically lower gas prices. If he did, judging upon his sinking poll numbers, he would use that magic wand.
No, he does. And it's not a wand, it's a phone. It's not a wand. It is a phone. I've been saying for the last several weeks, you pick up the phone and you call the person that you don't want to call for whatever reason. MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, who, yes, ordered the killing of Khashoggi, who is the leader of a regime that cracks down on people. And let's be real, Saudi Arabia and us, we don't see eye to eye in a lot of things. But remember, Trump had pretty warm relations with Saudi Arabia. Well, because Trump's a scumbag. No. One thing Trump does better than a lot of people is he understanding that monsters fight monsters. They get monsters. He compartmentalized in a much different way. And we pick and choose our hypocrisy. Earlier today, or late in the evening, or early in the morning, depend on where you are, Biden made a phone call.
Good evening to everyone here in the United States, and good morning to you, Mr. President, in Beijing.
To President Xi. So we won't call MBS, and I'll tell you in a minute why that's important, but he'll make a phone call to have a discussion, and rightly so, with President Xi. Oh, yeah, why is that? Because I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but if we're going to go look at murderous regimes throughout time, China's up there. Chairman Mao killed a few people. Xi's got 3 million Uyghurs in not a summer camp. It's not a fat camp, right? Not that. It is a re-education camp / prison / who knows really what's happening. So we'll make phone calls because of that. We'll sell weapons to the Saudis because as much as we can't stand them, Iran is a different story. And they dislike Iran far more, and they're close, and we got to make sure that we have this really weird alliance. But Chad, how could he help? This is what Ali Shahabi, he is the de facto voice they consider in Washington for MBS. He's a Saudi national. In October, he tweeted, Biden has the phone number of who he will have to call if he wants any favors. Ooh. You have got to make an effort. You've got to make an effort. And sometimes it means picking up the phone call and calling somebody who you don't like, who you disagree with, who you think is bad and evil, then you're not getting anything. Well, this is no. When people see the cost of turkeys doubling, when they see the fact that we have enough milk in this country, in fact, we have enough and then some, but prices are still rising because energy prices are pushing up the prices of getting things from point A to point B. And every time you drive by a gas station, you see the rising cost of it daily. Maybe you make the phone call. Maybe you make the phone call. Sometimes you have to. You don't want to. But if we're selling weapons to a country, then, and we won't make a phone call when it comes to this because somehow making that phone call would in some way, shape, or form devalue us and make what they did to Khashoggi and others okay. We need to figure out exactly where we stand at this moment in time. Because people who are living at the line of an extra buck here, an extra buck there every single day puts me in a situation where I'm making choices on what I can pay and what I can't pay, which is a lot of people. Maybe, just maybe, you make the phone call. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. One of the other things is, too, if you're them, they would enjoy you not making the phone call and taking in tons of money. They're producing 11 million plus barrels a day to the tune of $950 million plus, depending on where oil is on any day. That's great that they're printing money, but you know what they would like? They'd also like a Republican in the office because it does them better for a lot of different ways. Maybe make the phone call for your own self. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, your Instagram, all of that stuff. Love hearing from you. Try to answer everybody. Let me tell you something. How many of you have struggled with diets? Raise your hands. All of us have. How many of you have been in a situation where you're going to try to do something and maybe even your willpower is okay, maybe it's not. But the reality is no matter what you do, you get frustrated. And part of that is because of biology. Big time. The reality is biology plays more of a part than people realize. That's why I love working with Calibrate. Calibrate is different. It's a comprehensive doctor-guided metabolic reset that promotes sustainable results through lifestyle changes. It's awesome. You get FDA-approved medication that's doctor-prescribed, paired with lifestyle changes. It improves your metabolic health, right? This is awesome. It's a fully integrated program, which means you're going to get classes, one-on-one video coaching, in-app tracking. You're going to be able to talk to people inside of community who are going through the same thing you are, and medical care, including a doctor's visit. The earliest members to Calibrate lost an average of 14% of your body weight. Imagine that right now. If you were down 35, 45, 55 pounds, how would you feel? Huge, right? Over 20 years, research shows that the combination of GLP-1 medication and coaching improves metabolic health and drives long-term sustainable weight loss, not just something instantaneous. That's why Calibrate is awesome. It's an easy fit in your busy schedule. It is about you and resetting your metabolic world. Right now, your weight doesn't reflect your willpower. Get back in control with Calibrate. $50 off, 1 year metabolic reset when you use promo code CHAD at joincalibrate.com. That's $50 off when you use code CHAD at joincalibrate.com. You will not be disappointed. $50 off right now. Use code CHAD at joincalibrate.com. Chad Benson Show.
If you like talk radio like Chad Benson likes his meals, you've come to the perfect place for takeout.
Who wants to rock?
All across this great nation, Americans are feeling pain at the pump. But help is on the way. We at the Biden administration know you want nothing more than for gas prices to go back to where they were last year, which is why we're laser focused on the one method guaranteed to make that happen: creating a new pandemic. As we speak, our world-class scientists are working hard to develop the next big viral strain. They're experimenting with expired wombat meat, iguana sneeze droplets, and whatever they can scrape off the New York City subway. Trust me, if COVID-22 is out there somewhere, we're gonna find it. We're not stopping until gas prices are the least of your problems. That's the Biden promise.
It's a joke, everybody. Settle down. Although we do have a new pandemic, it's here. Are you guys ready? Be prepared to be prepared.
What we're seeing is less people are getting vaccinated against the flu because last year there was no flu. But we are starting to see cases around the country, and I think we have to be prepared not only for COVID, but for flu season coming up.
Oh, my God. It is going to be the perfect storm. I saw that movie. Do you guys remember that? Perfect Storm. It had, like, George Clooney in it and Mark Wahlberg. And you had the, like, 3 different storms that were all converging on one another. One was like, this one's warmer, it's coming up from the Gulf. And the other one, this one's cold, it's coming up from here. This one's in between. It's kind of like Goldilocks. And they're going to converge on one another, and they're going to create. Is that what we're going to have? No, we're going to have pretty nasty flu season. We're going to have kids out last year. You have colds right now. How many people out there are struggling with colds? And some of these colds seem to be a little bit of an ass kicker. So this is what you got. It's going to get, because we weren't out. part of building up an immunity is being exposed to many of these things. That's part of building up said immunity. And so it's going to be a double wablooey. And then you've got to booster or not to booster. Are you going to get your booster shot? Are you not going to get your booster shot? Big Pharma would love you to get it because it's good money. I think it's just a smart thing to do, but also understand that you're getting a shot that isn't going to give you 100% protection, but it will give you protection from getting very sick. At the end of the day, that's a win. That's a win. But you do you, boo. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. This story is heartwarming, and I say that tongue-in-cheek. It's coming up. There's a lady that went to a website, and apparently she thought this is how it's done. It's not. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
To booster or not to booster is thine question as we head into the holiday season. People are asking the question, do they booster or do they not booster? I got zero problems with the shot itself. The mandates I have issues with. I am pro getting the shot, but I'm even more pro choice and freedom. I just want everybody to understand that. And I also want people to understand the money situation. We were talking earlier, and make no doubt about it, the amount of money that the Saudis are pulling out oil-wise every day is what? So 11 million barrels. So here we're talking about, let's just talk about the amount of money that, like, for example, so they're pulling out 11 million barrels a day at $80 a barrel. It's about $880 million. Pfizer and Moderna, $90 million a day. $1,000 of profit a second.
We're starting to see waning immunity against infection and waning immunity in the beginning aspect against hospitalization and to some extent death, which is starting to now involve all age groups. It isn't just the elderly. So if one looks back at this, one can say, do you know, it isn't as if a booster is a bonus, but a booster might actually be an essential part of the primary regimen that people should have.
Primary regimen of what people should have. Again, I am not, repeat, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I am not pro-pandemic or pro-disease. Exact opposite of that. But I am an open-minded, free-thinking individual who has questions. But when you're making $1,000 a second, isn't it nice that the government's coming out and saying, you got to take our stuff? You have to, or else. Holy guacamole. Now, I've said, and I'll continue to say this, I think people are getting more skeptical, not so much in the shot, but in the waning immunity game. I think people are getting more skeptical in the fact that it keeps changing very fast when it comes to, hey, it'll last a year, it'll last 3 months, it'll last 6, you need another shot. I think people are getting skeptical about that, and I think the second round of shots that people might need, the booster, you're going to find more and more people are going to be skeptical of running out at this point in time and taking another shot. I'm just throwing it out there. Again, I'm always curious. Yesterday on my local show, my partner, who is very like this is the perfect example. His wife, Lynette, who I love, she's a friend. We golf together, actually, because he doesn't golf. He plays softball, like stays in softball shape. So her and I will go out and hit golf balls. But she sent a picture of her arm, and she had a couple Band-Aids on it. And she goes, I know how to turn my husband on. Sent that to him and put it on her little Facebook thing. And it's because she got the flu vaccine and the shingles shot. So, and he's like, because he's very much into this. And I said, dude, haven't you ever asked yourself, though, about why companies would not let you ask questions in certain areas about natural immunity? Why certain companies would ban you from saying certain things about natural immunity comparatively to, why is it scientists in Israel and their study in Jerusalem of almost 1 million people is flawed comparatively to the 1,000-person study here where everybody says, natural immunity sucks. You should totally get this. Well, you're selling me something. So I see that. Why is it that, ivermectin, they haven't done big studies. There's enough stuff out there that says, you know what, it can reduce some of the stuff. Well, yeah, because it's no. But when you go and take horse dewormer or you go and buy stuff that you shouldn't be using on you, that's a hot mess. But isn't it funny that they come out with something similar, not exactly the same, because there's no money on it, because there's a generic patent. What is Moderna fighting right now? They're fighting the patent laws. They don't want to give their patent up. They don't want to give their money maker up. They're making $1,000 a second. You think they want to give that up? How many new billionaires have been minted? And I have zero problems with any of this. But it is fair to ask a question. One of the questions that was asked the other day that I thought was interesting, why is it hard to find differing studies and opinions? Why, when I go to DuckDuckGo or to Bing, that I get different studies that pop up comparatively to Google? Start looking and say, who sponsors this? Who sponsors that? Who sponsors this? Who sponsors that? Again, fair to ask questions. I am pro getting the shot. I have gotten my shots because A, I'm a bit of a risk taker, and B, because I recognize that I'm not going to turn into a nanobot, right? That I'm not going to explode. But I recognize the fact that, yeah, you know what? Keeping you out of the hospital, that's a good thing. But it is fair to ask the question that maybe not everything is as it seems. I mean, when the CDC came out yesterday and admitted, yeah, we don't really keep natural immunity records when it comes to the spread or any of these things, what does that say? It's a fair thing to ask. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Now, if you're going to do something and it's going to be nefarious, and they have a website for your nefariousness on Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, right? Yahoo search, wherever you go. Know this, it's not real. Case in point, hireahitman.com.
The site is rentahitman.com, luring a Monroe County woman to see about having her ex-husband killed. The inquiry, real enough, gaining the attention of Michigan State Police. The whole scenario, more common than you'd think. The creator of the website explained.
So you rent a hitman. You don't get to keep him. My bad. So you rent a hitman, right? This is great. It's more prevalent than it seems. I would assume it's a joke, but apparently people are what? Anyone? Stupid.
These people are seeking how to hire a hitman on the internet.
One of them from Monroe County, Wendy Ween, charged for trying to hire someone to kill her ex-husband, filling out a lengthy questionnaire on the fictitious website.
She was asked those two questions. Do you still require our services? And would you like me to put you in contact with the field operative? She answered yes.
Field operative. Like you're taking phone calls. Now, one-leggers, for those of you who don't know, a one-legger in the sales industry is when there are two people that will be decision makers, but only one person's there. Are you single, ma'am? Are you the final decision maker in this? Or will we need to speak to somebody else who will also have a say in this? No, I'm the final decision maker in this.
That was enough for Bob Innes, the creator of rentahitman.com, to report her to Michigan State Police.
We utilized a undercover state trooper, set up a meet in a parking lot.
Ween allegedly telling the undercover trooper she'd pay $5,000 to have her ex killed. Then and there, she was arrested earlier this month.
I can't believe someone would think that there would be a website that they could go to and do this.
First of all, why couldn't you think that? Have you not met people? People are stupid. She didn't have the $5,000 there, by the way, which I thought was hilarious. It's like she was doing a layaway to kill her husband. You don't find that funny? She was doing a layaway to kill her husband. That is, I don't have all the money right now. And I've seen some of these. She wanted to put $200 down to show she was serious. And then it was a rent to own scenario. She was going to make 400 easy payments. My goodness me. We're not done.
Webmaster Bob is not surprised at all.
Rentahitman.com has prevented 141 murders so far. That includes potential school shootings, child abductions, and your run-of-the-mill murder for hire.
He started the very basic site in 2005 as a class project, then left it. A couple years later, he opened the inbox.
This is what's crazy. So he does it as a class little side thing, right? It's probably an assignment. Here we go. And he still had it. It's up and running.
I go back into the inbox to check the emails, and I'm just shocked. There's 250 or 300 emails from people around the world seeking asset extraction.
He figured he could do some good, and it seems he has, getting 2 new murder-for-hire messages just on Tuesday.
The fact that a $9.20 website has prevented 141 murders, I never would have seen this coming.
How cool is that? She's in a lot of trouble. I've seen some of these too. I was watching one a couple weeks ago. It's a pretty famous one where she went through the whole thing, and they showed her husband at the time all of the stuff that was going on, and they wanted to fool her in a major way, and they took him out to the desert, and they dug holes, and they had professional makeup artists do it, and then he walks in on them. But it is so, to think that you could go to rentahitman.com and that nobody else had ever thought, like the FBI or police, were like, well, we should probably go over there and see what's going on. And you don't have the money to, at least come prepared. It's on layaway. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Oh my goodness. Car Shield is amazing. You have to put this on layaway because they got a plan to fit every single budget, especially this holiday season. It's a great gift. Secondly, it's just great for your car, right? Cars are more expensive. Parts are harder to find. So you think to yourself, oh, my goodness, but your mechanic can get anything you need done, right? You don't want to go out and buy a used car and pay top price for it, or a new car right now because you don't want a payment. That's why you have Car Shield. Car Shield will protect you. They take the entire situation in their hands the minute you get Car Shield and something happens, you makes that phone call. Their administrators make everything super easy. They handle the paperwork, expensive payments. You don't have to do any of that. No hassles, no headaches. You pay a small deductible. You could save thousands, and I mean thousands. I've done it with the electronics in my car. You can do it for your transmission, your engine, whatever it is. They even provide coast-to-coast roadside assistance, rental coverage, trip reimbursement, all at no additional charge. And again, you choose the mechanic. It's simple and easy. Over 1 million drivers have trusted Car Shield. They're America's #1 auto protection company. Their cars, CarShield cars, go further, and there's a reason for that. Right now, save 10%. Get yourself coverage today. CarShield.com/Benson. Saves you 10%. CarShield.com/Benson. CarShield.com/Benson. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
I like those commercials. There's a Geico or whatever, and they start talking about, oh, we got an animal problem, and the animal's upstairs. We have a rat problem. It's the band Rat. Well, they have a problem in Egypt, and they could say they've got a scorpion problem. Oh, no way. Partly because of the weather, which has been crazy. But you know what happens, guys? There's a plague of scorpions. That's right. Saturday, the Egyptian outlet Al-Ahram, Chad, you said that wrong, said massive rainstorms as well as snowfall began blowing across the city of Aswan. It had driven out swarms of scorpions from their nests directly into residents' homes, as they did what scorpions do best, which is sting the crap out of people. Now, how many people did it sting? Well over 500. And this is the Egyptian fat-tailed scorpion, one of the deadlier scorpions that you will find. And guess what? 3 of the 450 plus, now 500 or so, as more and more people come in, have died from it. Oh, no way. Yeah, you don't want this. It's not a good sting, right? And by the way, just to let you guys know, I've worked with fat-tailed scorpions in the past. But there are some things you don't do, and you don't want them in your home. So there is a scorpion problem because of the weather. Let you know that. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you, the good, the bad. We're talking about infrastructure. The whole last, couple months they've battled about infrastructure. And, it shows you the chaos that some people, I tweeted out, something about infrastructure, and somebody says, isn't it good that we can work together? But people on your thread say things about waste. Well, first of all, who's not excited the fact that there's tons of things that are inside this infrastructure bill that I think are very good? But let's not forget, government loves money, and the people in power need it, right? Money in the private sector craves what? Power. So yes, there's going to be what we would consider waste. Now it's waste because it's money that we think you guys really shouldn't be spending because there's no reason to. But for others, it is a victory for them because they know they're going to get tons of contracts and make a ton of money. At the end of the day, they're spending it because they believe they have it or they'll print it. But every once in a while, somebody will tweet something. And you don't always have to respond or be upset in a thread if you see something you don't like. I'm just saying it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. My goodness me. What a day. We talked about hiring a hitman. Talked about gas. Talked about the holidays. Infrastructure. We talked about so much stuff. It's incredible. We're going to do it again tomorrow. So have a blessed, wonderful day. And we will do it again because that's what we do. Eat a taco. Night, night, Jack.
This is The Chad Benson Show.